This woman was highly significant in shaping the borders of the country of Iraq. You may know her by the name the Queen of the Desert or the Maker of Kings. One thing is for sure, Lawrence of Arabia has nothing on Gertrude Bell. The country known today as Iraq was once known as Mesopotamia. Under the Ottomans, Mesopotamia was divided into 3 vilayats, or provinces: Mosul in the north, Baghdad at its heart, and Basra to the south. By the end of World War I in 1918, all 3 of these Ottoman vilayats had been occupied by Britain. In 1920, during the San Remo Conference, Britain was allocated the League of Nations mandate for Mesopotamia and Palestine, though the latter is not the subject of this video. When the mandate for Mesopotamia was issued, it ignited pre-existing tensions towards the occupying British, and uprisings broke out throughout Mesopotamia, in particular in its central and southern regions. Britain did manage to suppress the uprising, at a cost of £40 million and the lives of 1,000 British and Indian soldiers. But a clear message had been sent. Direct rule of Mesopotamia would be far too costly. So Britain asked itself a question: how can we govern Mesopotamia while simultaneously protecting our strategic interests, in particular oil and trade routes, and do it cheaply? Well, to answer this question, the newly appointed Colonial Secretary, Winston Churchill, organised the 1921 Cairo Conference, in which he invited 40 British officials, whom he referred to as the 40 Thieves, to advise on the future of Britain's Middle Eastern mandates. But with regards to Britain's mandate for Mesopotamia, there were 3 officials that carried the most influence and weight: the British High Commissioner in Baghdad, Sir Percy Cox; T.E. Lawrence, otherwise known as Lawrence of Arabia; and the Oriental Secretary in Baghdad, Gertrude Bell. Gertrude Bell was born into an upper-class industrial family, and in her early 20s became enchanted with Arabic culture. As an archaeologist, scholar and explorer, Gertrude would spend 2 decades prior to the First World War travelling throughout Mesopotamia, Greater Syria, Palestine and the Arabian Peninsula, during which time she gained a fluency in Arabic and Turkish and a working knowledge of Kurdish and Persian. Traversing thousands of miles on foot, horseback and camel, she formed strong connections with tribal leaders throughout the Middle East. Her acute ethnographic observations, coupled with her knowledge and respect of tribal customs, gave Gertrude an intimate insight into tribal politics. At the onset of the First World War, Gertrude's immense knowledge of the Middle East made her a prized intelligence asset to the British, who quickly recruited her to the Arab Bureau, lending her expertise to the British in their successful campaign against the Ottomans. After the war, Gertrude's role in British Middle Eastern policy skyrocketed. Viewed as one of the foremost officials of Mesopotamia, Gertrude ascended to the position of Oriental Secretary of Baghdad, effectively making her the eyes and ears of the British administration in Baghdad. As Oriental Secretary, Gertrude was perfectly placed to be a key architect in the building of a future Mesopotamian state. A state that she passionately believed that, despite the deep ethnic and sectarian divides of the region, could be united under a single leadership. That of one of the leaders of the Arab Revolt, the son of Sharif Hussein, Emir Faisal. As a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Gertrude believed that Emir Faisal would carry a certain Islamic legitimacy that would place him best to be a neutral ruler in a land that was characterized by complex ethno-religious pluralism. Not to mention, Faisal was accommodating to British policy. At the Cairo conference in 1921, it was finalized that the future state of Mesopotamia would be organized as a monarchy. And Emir Faisal, greatly due to the influence of Gertrude Bell and T.E. Lawrence, would be made king of that monarchy. A monarchy would serve as a symbol of independence and allow Britain to control policy behind the scenes, and not to mention protect its strategic interests. And of course, indirect rule, well, was a lot cheaper. But another question needed addressing, and that was the question of Mosul. Churchill and other British officials had concerns about including the former Ottoman vilayet, Mosul, into a new kingdom. The Turkish nationalist movement had laid claims to it, and including it might spark conflict. Also, Mosul's ethnic and religious diversity was a concern, making centralized governance from Baghdad complicated, with the risk of ethnic and sectarian tensions leading to rebellion a real possibility. But Gertrude Bell rejected this, insisting, adamant, that Mosul be included in the new Mesopotamian kingdom, and with the appointment of Faisal as king would go a long way in offsetting any potential troubles that may arise from the deep ethnic and sectarian differences of the land. Gertrude Bell's 3 decades worth of assessments, reports, and maps on the region ultimately would prove to be highly influential in Britain, including Mosul into the new Mesopotamian kingdom. On August 23, 1921, Emir Faisal was crowned king of the Kingdom of Iraq. And for the next several years, Gertrude Bell would be his advisor, guiding him into the unfamiliar political terrain of his new kingdom. On the 12th of July, 1926, Gertrude Bell died. But the story of the kingdom that she played a significant role in creating was just getting started. A story that would include the collapse of the monarchy, repeated coup attempts, dictatorship, and imperialism. Gertrude Bell was a trailblazer. She was a force in a man's world. But her legacy is a paradox. 2 decades prior to the First World War, Gertrude Bell had become captivated with the Arab world, and through her writings, demonstrated a genuine admiration for the Arabs and their culture. But she was committed to British imperial rule, and is thus a symbol of it. And to many people, especially in this climate, that is enough to sully the legacy of an otherwise extraordinary woman.